Yes.
Oh, now I'm on full screen.
Is it on?
Whee! I look orange.
Cindy Sutton.
Leah Van.
Can you tell if it's recording, Jennifer?
It is.
It is. Okay, good. That's done.
Not
Not
there.
good.
This is Annie Get Your Gun, the finale. That red curtain, was that used in any other shows beyond 66 and 67? That big red curtain, those huge columns. Yeah, the columns were used for Everyman.
Yeah,
Every man.
I think they may have cut up the red fabric for Hello Dolly.
Did you?
I was gonna say that too, Andrew. I think they might have been stored away somewhere.
Yep, Sheila's got a souvenir.
This is the first Barbara Allen
Yay!
from 1967. Pat Milliron.
That's
Pat
Pat
Mill
Miller.
Irons, yeah.
Well, let's see. Sheila, Ronnie, Jackie, Jennifer, and I are here. So are there any last
Leanne
things
doesn't
that
want
we
to
need to run
see
through?
video.
Don't think so.
Okay.
But wait just a minute. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
I've been able to do my name, got that, but I need to do gallery. I've got to do that because I can't see people except
Go
one
to
at a
view.
time.
Go to
Do you see
view.
view anywhere?
Let's see.
It's on my
I
top
just-
right, but it may be on your top left.
Yeah, top right. Top
We
right.
got Carol
There's
Go.
Carol.
We got speaker.
All mine says is share screen.
No, it says more.
Well,
Full screen.
I don't say, it does not say view on mine.
Leanne, you're
says,
hiding.
I've got mute, stop the video, share screen, participants, and more. That's it.
Leanne is both mute and unseen.
Oh.
I didn't see her name anywhere.
We not miss you.
I know she's here. I just saw her a minute ago.
John Lutz is coming in on
Carol,
top
you're
of
muted.
it.
Unmute yourself for a bit.
There she is.
There she is.
I have to
Just like
tell you all
Hollywood
this.
Squares.
I have to tell you all this. I have torn my house upside down. I cannot find my "Have you seen Hunter Hills" button.
Me
I'm-
Oh,
either.
I can't find.
I'm crushed.
Look at Jennifer. Look at Andrew.
Oh, yay. Look at
Yes,
Andrew.
yes.
See, that's what I can.
Oh.
Andrew, cool. Somebody is calling me on my phone. Hang on.
Steve
Okay.
Martin.
Here's Steve Martin.
Hey guys,
Where's Steve?
Hey, Steve.
how are you?
Okay.
Andrew?
Steve Martin. Hello from the
Andrew.
Smokies. Good to
Harlan.
see you. Glad you could come.
Great to see you guys.
I see where John Lutz is still figuring it out.
Hey, what?
Faces are getting smaller and smaller as more people.
Yeah.
Come on, John. You should do it.
The question is how you're gonna be able to,
Was that Harlan?
how are you gonna be able to
Was
make
that
it bigger?
Harlan? I figured it was Harlan. Did you see the picture in the background? Reminds me of Jennifer's corporate email.
Here comes John Lutz.
There's a picture.
Oh, and there's Ben.
Is there?
Yes.
Yeah.
John, there's no hair. You gotta bring the hair on.
Carol.
You're back.
Amy,
Lance. Hey, Lance.
hello.
Hi, Lance.
And Bob
Where's
Wilson. Oh my
Where's
God.
Lance?
Donna.
There's Leanne.
There's
Hey,
Hey, John.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey,
Give
Lance.
us just a second.
Hi, Lance.
Sheila, Jackie,
Yes.
Ronnie, Jennifer. Our biggest challenge is not knowing how many people are coming, is how to
Yeah.
help shape the group. Ronnie's method worked at dress rehearsal. If you see that works, then feel free to use that one or use the one in the script if we need to break it down into smaller groups and make it more manageable.
No.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Barry.
Bear.
So great to see everybody.
Hey.
Hi, I'm just looking around.
Donna.
Hey.
Venable.
Donna.
Matt.
Anybody hear me? This is Bob.
Yes, we hear, yes.
Wilson.
There's Tom
Dr.
and Archie.
Hi there.
Andrew.
Hey, Tom.
Hello there.
Oh, my goodness.
Hi. Is that
Camera on.
David Krebs.
David Krebs and Archie.
Wow.
And
Hi,
Bob.
folks.
Hi
And
there.
Matt.
Tom.
As I live and breathe.
Archie, we can only see your mask stuff.
Steve, good to see you.
There you
There,
go.
Archie, a bit better.
Clyde. Hello.
CL.
Hey.
Charlotte.
Hi, I can't see everybody,
This
but
is amazing.
It's
my
gonna get much
my
smaller,
gallery
right?
only has 9
Maybe you were
faces.
just struck blind.
Oh, no, great.
How
Yeah.
many people is this going to be?
We don't know.
It's 27 already.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a lot.
Are we just, so it's like aging, we're just going to keep getting tinier and tinier?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I've got
No, just better and better.
Okay.
better and better? And that's
Well, you
Wonderfully optimistic.
You can do the gallery. You can do the gallery view or the speaker view with that
Yeah.
little icon up in the right hand
Right.
corner.
I don't know. I've got, yeah,
That's Bonnie.
no.
Bonnie, hey,
iPad
is
80.
Bev joining us?
Who is iPad 80?
I'm going to have to leave, but come back.
Harlan
Double
Hamburg.
booked. Okay,
Hey,
Archie.
Barry.
Archie,
Where in the
double
world
parked.
are you with that interesting backdrop of yours?
He's in his studio.
It's a place called Passaquan near Columbus,
Yeah.
Georgia. I highly recommend it. I did a 3D tour of it a couple years ago, which you can see if you go to my website.
Who's the naked guy?
It's the guy that, this guy, I don't remember what he was doing in this little town, but he moved to New York where he was a
I thought I
seer
recognized.
So we can definitely see or him.
Harlan, you have a
He
way
did all
with-
kinds of weird things. Then his mother died, and he moved back, and then spent 2 decades changing the house into this.
Wow.
It's hard to describe it.
Yeah, I've seen
If you're
pictures.
near Columbus, Georgia, I highly recommend it.
I thought he might have been at the Rocks.
Yeah,
Those are,
right.
those
And
are his
Harlan.
rocks.
Harlan, you have a way with naked people and rocks, right, Larry?
And we knew you were going to grow up to be weird.
Yes, we did.
I didn't have far to go.
Yeah.
Who said he grew up?
Harlan, what was the name of the song you sang at the 1991 homecoming? It was
I
funny.
know.
It doesn't really have a title.
The chorus did.
It was
Hey,
rich.
Dr. Tom, move your cursor to your screen, and instead of mute, choose ... And then you can rename your window for yourself from iPad, which really doesn't sufficiently describe you.
There's Joe.
Joe's is coming.
Oh,
Doug, you're coming.
Listen, who is,
iPad's fine.
Yeah. the host can also do that for you.
Well, I have my
That's true.
Okay, choose that,
my
and
dot,
then
dot.
choose rename.
Rename's not on there.
Oh.
Well, they must not want you to change from
I
iPad.
think that
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, I think I think the person who's the host has to do that.
No.
Are you on
Yeah.
At 80, I'll do it.
Okay. Well, if you're using an iPad, some of the features are different
Right.
than using
Yeah.
a laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably true.
Right.
Archie,
Yes.
let me interject. Your interview on whatever it was, KSAT or whatever, it was absolutely beautiful. I will never forget it. And I meant to call you that day, but I did. I'm the bad girl.
Yeah, believe it or not, Sheila and I are just up the road
Yes,
from
we
each other.
are. We are right next door to each other.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sheila. Your hair looks good.
Well, thank you.
You like mine?
It's getting very white.
Mine?
Yes, yours looks
I
great.
like John Lutz's.
Yours looks great. Hi, Joseph.
Hi.
Good Lord. Wow. This is so cool.
Whoa.
We're going to get a meeting going. We're going to
love
be
it.
saying hello to each other.
Oh, and
forever.
Olivia.
Look at Lance looking good. Oh, my word.
Olivia's really jacked.
Did you do my
Yeah.
sister?
What's he doing?
Go hider.
Okay, how do I?
CL, Claude.
So
Good
Joseph,
evening, good
where's that-
afternoon.
Joe Hyder, where's that wintry scene that's behind you?
I'm sorry?
Where's the wintry scene that's behind Joe?
Out behind my deck.
Woo.
It's morning.
Wow.
It's where? Where are you?
It's behind my deck. I took the picture this morning.
But what's the state, city?
Oh, Portland, Oregon.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
so did you get a whole winter's worth of snow in one day like they said they were going to?
No, what happens here is that it snows and then it melts a little and then it rains and then it ices it's below freezing like 3 or 4 days in a row. Not fun.
No, you can't live in
Al?
Portland without sun.
Is that you?
Yes, that is
Where's
Claude.
CL?
CL.
Claude,
Good.
Hunter Hills. Have
Oh,
you seen
yeah,
Hunter Hills?
We couldn't find ours.
Amy,
Amy.
you still got one of those buttons.
What? I'm here.
Linda.
You can do all kinds of fun things with Zoom. Amy.
Jill Green, how are you?
Little Avenue.
Hello there.
Hey, Jack.
That's Jack.
Jack,
not
yeah.
Olivia.
Yeah,
It's
I
Olivia.
still have that thing too. I don't know where
You do?
it's. Yes, it's right here in my underneath my bed. I forgot all about it.
Oh, pouch.
I know.
What is it?
Oh my God.
T-shirt.
Amy!
Amy Holloway, yay!
Someone needs to turn.
Yeah, my dad did sweatshirts for both Sheila and Ronnie of the Mammy and Pappy Yokum. And I can't believe you all still have them.
Amy, you have quite an
I'm
echo.
on there.
Yeah, we have
You know,
somebody.
there's a thing you need to do in audio settings.
We have,
I
yeah,
just forget what it is.
microphone.
That was-
Beverly Quinn is asking me for
That's
a
it.
number to get into the audio. And she
Who is?
says Beverly Gwen Jones.
Oh,
There she is, says connecting
Becky.
audio.
Becky.
It says
Becky.
connected to audio.
Finally got the
Yeah.
audio.
There you are.
Yes.
I guess people can hear me.
Now, those are some cool sunglasses.
Barely, it's a
right
little
there.
soft.
Hello.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's, amen.
Hello, Miss.
Happy
Oh, look at
Valentine's.
there. Look at there. Love it. Jackie. Hey,
Yes.
Jackie. I don't know if you were on when I was talking
Yes.
to Doug, but I am going to ask him something after the in memoriam and after you ask if there are any other people not on the list. I will hold my hand to say something. So we'll insert that there, okay? It's on your script. I just wanted to confirm that I was going to do it. Somebody keep me apprised of time. I think it's still like 5 till or something.
No, it's 3:08.
Lost it.
What
Really?
time zone are you in, Louis?
Hello. I'm on my kitchen time zone.
Really?
In my kitchen time zone. Oh, I have to
And it-
compete with Beverly. I couldn't find my red ones, but here are my blue ones.
Good Lord, there's Tom.
I would say most of us are here by now then. So
Dr. Cook, are you still in
Go
Las
ahead.
Vegas?
No, I'm in Tucson.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
do you find it more civilized?
much more.
Good.
Although I enjoyed Las Vegas.
So, but I like
I
the
enjoyed
way
Las
Tucson smells.
Yes,
Dude,
smells
Pinion
great.
smoke.
I happened to go through all the history and got all the cast lists from every year. So if we have a question about somebody, I can look up from 66 to I think.
Wow.
84. So
Hello,
I
Catherine.
bet everybody does though.
You are so tech savvy.
Savvy.
I have a question. I have a very small gallery moving across I get 4 people
Scott.
in a small gallery at the bottom of my screen. Is that what I'm supposed to have?
No.
Go to view.
You should make your, first of all, you should maximize your window with whatever software you're using. And then the second thing, go to view and make sure that
Jackie,
you're
what are you
gallery.
using a laptop?
No, I'm using an old iPad.
iPad has different features to go to, so it's a little.
Yes.
Does anybody that's tech savvy using an iPad that can help Jackie?
Yeah. Look,
Jackie, I'm using an iPad, and if you touch your screen, there's an icon on the left side, one of which is switch to gallery view, and that means instead of the big picture of a participant, you have a small picture of I think up to 20, and then there are multiple pages.
On my iPad, I'm only getting 9 pictures at gallery view.
Yeah, that's what I've got. Yeah.
Do you have the arrow, like page 1 of, I've got an arrow that I can go to.
Well, shall we get started? Shall we get started?
So I just realized if you go to page 2, you get to see Leanne and John Lutz and Claire and Donna McGill.
Hey, Leanne, can you hear me?
I can hear somebody. Is that Jack?
Jack.
Hi, Jack.
How are
I
you?
actually sent you a chat, but I don't know if you can find
Hey,
it.
babe, how are you?
I'm great.
Have you done any commercials recently?
No, I have not, but there's a woman on a guy.
There is.
I know. It's red hair. And I'm telling Olivia.
So Ronnie and I have sent a request.
Be Leanne.
Ronnie and I have sent a request that she send us her residuals, please.
Yes, his assistant sent me all residuals. Hey, Claire, is it still
Doug?
It's not snowing yet, but my daughter in Dallas has snow, and the snow is coming. Those of us in the south of Texas are about to freeze.
No.
And it's good that I married an engineer because he's keeping the heating going in the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's Catherine.
Somebody says it's after 3, so shall we begin? Shall we begin then? Well, hello to everybody.
Wait a minute, we got to turn down our background music.
Everybody mute themselves.
Mute now.
Yes, John, we can hear you.
All righty. Hello, everybody. And
Hey, Catherine.
I'm delighted that we all decided to come and set a spell.
Hello,
today.
Catherine.
Now, before we get this
Barry Nolan
Valentine's
saying hi.
Zoom, we have to take care of some boring business. And so it's pretty boring, but we have to do it. So everybody go boo. Boo. But it's okay because Jennifer's going to do it. She's our tech gal. And she has even put on her face for us today. She told me earlier. So she's got on her happy face. Now, Jennifer.
Oh my God, she still has her shirt.
It's been in the bottom of a drawer and it shrunk a little bit since I wore it.
My foot.
Let me tell you about
Jennifer. Jennifer was a sibling of Annie Oakley. She was also a citizen of Emerald City and Yonkers, and so she was a very chaste nun. So here's Jennifer with some tech stuff.
Hello, could you spell chaste?
It's so great seeing all these faces. Oh my gosh, it makes me want to cry. Anyway, who is that Sue?
I believe it's true, Patty.
So,
Without plumbing.
if, to change your view, does everyone know how to change your view? Mine is up at the top right.
No.
Somehow Sue's face is now taking
Ye-
up all of
yes.
the.
Yeah, that's weird.
Just
Sue, quit sharing screen.
Just-
It looks like she's
She's
sharing her
there.
screen.
Yeah.
She's sharing her screen.
just unpin her on the spotlight.
No, she's sharing her screen.
Yes, I
Yeah,
know.
that's what
Where would the spotlight be? Describe the place on the screen that we find the spotlight to unpin her.
Okay.
Jen, you can do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this here.
Okay. If you trying to think now.
I did it by unsharing the screen.
Advanced sharing options.
I get recording.
There we
There you
go.
go.
Now I've got everybody.
I know, yeah, right. I'm the tech person. That's funny.
Who did that? Jennifer, way to
Only
go.
because I've zoomed before. So, if everyone
Oh, okay.
will mute their phone, mute their screen. If you want to talk, just hold the space bar down and it'll unmute you. And then when you release the space bar, it'll mute you back.
Okay.
You're obviously on a computer.
I am. Oh, well, all right, yes, I'm on a computer. I don't know how it works on an iPhone or on a phone.
I'm off on the iPhone.
And if everyone wants to change their name, I can either do it if you hover over participants and hover over your name, then you
Well,
can
I'm not
rename.
Olivia.
No. We
That
recognize.
helps.
Jack, I was going to change you from Olivia to Jack.
No, just leave me
really-
Olivia. I like it.
Okay, fine, Olivia. So, and that was kind of it.
And David Krebs says he's Jan Krebs.
I'm perfectly
Yeah, we
happy
figured that
being Jan Krebs. She's prettier than I.
Yeah, Jennifer,
I
if you
thought
could,
that was a pronoun thing.
yeah, if you could lower Jackie's hand, then people could also move themselves to different places on the screen.
What?
Lower hand.
What?
Yes, okay, thank you. So let me introduce, everybody mute yourself now. My Zoom co-host who played Preacher Hagler, Charlie Davenport, Merlin, Starkeeper, and a tree. Here's Lou.
Well, hello again. I'm Lou Bolton, and I played in Annie Get Your Gun, Dark of the Moon, Oklahoma, Carousel, and Camelot, and Everyman. And I'm zooming near a creek in the Great Smoky Mountains. Fred Fields. Anybody remember that name? Ever heard of him? You know, he was our director.
Oh, yeah.
Mentor for 11 seasons.
Excuse me while I do this.
Okay. Well, Fred was right. We didn't know back then how truly special our years at the theater were. But now that we are history, we do know it. And speaking of history, it has been, and this is hard to believe, it's been 55 years since the first show year of UT's Hunter Hills Theater. It's remarkable, and it's a credit to us that we're still coming together. It's virtually this time, and that's not as good as being in the flesh, but it's better than nothing, I guess. But we're here today to celebrate each one of us and the 12 years of Hunter Hills, 1966 to 1977, where Under the Moon and Stars and With the Cicadas, we showcased 20 different shows, 5 of them for 2 or more seasons, and one show was presented 8 full seasons with 1 performance during a 9th year. And you know what that show is, right? Say it with me. Dark of the Moon. And our years
You have
were
the sign.
impressive, and it was quite an accomplishment. Now, however, 1977, that was the end of our glory days in the theater. It wasn't the end of us, because we began coming together for those unforgettable Hunter Hills homecomings in 1986, 1991, and 2006. That's when the cast from all the years gathered together as one big, happy theater family. Now, the one person greatly responsible for most of those reunions could be called the matron saint of Hunter Hills homecomings. She is the one and only Ado Annie, Conjure Woman, Ms. Mullins, Morgan Le Fay, and every man's mother. And here she is. Say it with me. Here's Jackie! Yay!
Oh, hi. I'm Jackie Wright Miller, and I was there in 1967 and 68, and I was in Annie Get Your Gun, Oklahoma, Carousel, Everyman, Camelot, and Dark of the Moon. And I am zooming from Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville, and we are preparing for a huge storm here. They're saying we're going to get like 5 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow, and nobody believes it, but we'll see. We'll see. I want to welcome everybody. This is just terrific. And first, before we go any further, are we not happy to see Tom Cook with us?
Yes, indeed.
Hi, Tom. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
So welcome to this unique way of being together. Social distancing. Thank goodness I almost put my mask on today. I thought, oh my gosh, we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
When you think about being back in the 60s and the 70s, we didn't even have a cell phone, much less the thought of one day in 2021 getting together via something called Zoom on our cell phones and our iPads and our Chromebooks. So I see a lot of great, wonderful faces on this screen. But in case you don't know each other, or in case you don't recognize each other, let's have a cast call. And to lead that cast call is one who practically grew up at Hunter Hills. Actually, to my memory, he did grow up at Hunter Hills. He was on stage 7 of our 12 seasons. He played Floyd Allen, Pappy Yoakum, Conjure Man, Allie Hackham, Friedrich, Hank Dutcher, and Puck. Here's Ronnie.
That would be me. Hi, everyone. I'm Ronnie Venable. I'm here from New York City. Now, we're going to have a cast call like we did every night at Hunter Hills before we went out on stage, just to identify ourselves. A lot of us don't look the same as we did 55 years ago. So we're going to quickly go through. Looks like we've got about 50 people here. So we're going to have to do this kind of quickly. We're going to do it by years. And that's really very meaningful that we're going to do this, because after that 1986 reunion, I can still remember Mr. Fields saying to me, you know, Ronnie, the next time there's a worldwide pandemic, I want you to have a cast call in my memory. So this is what we're doing now. Now we're going to have to go kind of quickly. So we're going to do it in by blocks of years, starting with 66 to 69. So if you were there in 66 to 69, I've already said hello to everybody. I don't need to do that, but I'm going to try. I'm looking on 2 different screens here. There's so many people. So raise your hands. I see that. In fact, as I see a hand going up, I'll see, and the first one I saw was David Stiles. So go ahead.
Hey, good memory. Sorry I was late. We were doing a restaurant run with Barry Smith down in Gatlinburg, and took us a while to get back with the traffic. You know how that is. And I'm zooming in from Marvel, Tennessee. So still in this area. And I can't remember my years. I did the marketing and promotions. You didn't see me on stage, but we were out selling tickets at the ticket booth and all of that good stuff.
Definitely 1968, David, because you did those wonderful color photos of Camelot and Everyman. So
Thank you.
And you lived at that little motel that doesn't exist anymore up on the hill.
It was
Claire,
actually,
I saw Claire put her hand up, so go.
That made you seem like the grown-up.
Unmute, Claire.
Unmute.
There we go. Hi, I am Claire Lander Bray, and I was there in '68, and I was Ma Allen and a tree in Camelot and the beggar's wife in Everyman, which was probably the least seen show of the whole deal. And I living in Austin, Texas, and as Sheila said, because we live about 40 miles apart, we're about to have snow, which is unheard of.
All right, put up those hands now. There you go. See.
Yes, I was there 66, 67, and 70. The first summer was Annie Get Your Gun, Oklahoma, Carousel, Little Abner. Then I was in 1970, Oklahoma. I graduated to Judd Fry, and I'm in New York City. When I think of Hunter Hills, I kind of think of it brigadoonishly. Magical time, magical space.
Great. See, I didn't realize you were still living in New York. We have to get together. Okay, I'm still looking on this screen to people that were there in 66 to 69, like Barry knows.
I beg to differ with something somebody said earlier about Everyman being the least frequently seen show. I was in Agamemnon, and I was just trying to imagine what the typical person that took a vacation in Gatlinburg was thinking about 15 minutes into Agamemnon and looking over at his wife and going, "What did you say this was about?" And that the memory of that experience has stayed with me through 30 years of television and 10 years on Capitol Hill. And I frequently stole from the best people that people like Tom Cook and Ralph Allen exposed us to. And it's helped me live comfortably in retirement. Thank you very much.
I'll say one thing about Agamemnon. I was in like the first 4 minutes of Agamemnon. Luckily, I didn't have to be in the whole thing.
It was the best 4 minutes.
Yeah, I came off quickly, took a shower, and I wanted to go up and watch the rest of it. So the show was about 8 minutes in when I came up to get into the audience to sit down. And this couple from Sevier County, we invited people from Gatlinburg to attend for free. And this couple looked at me and as they were leaving, "This is really good." Out they went to the parking lot.
Hey everybody! Bunch of you helped me one evening when little Abner didn't show up. I don't know if you remember, but he just decided he wouldn't come. So everybody was showing me which direction to go, what to say, where to stand, and we got through it. And I hung on to that part. But some of the best times of my life. I'm here in Lenore City with 3 boys and 4 grandboys.
Wow.
And every time I think about you guys, it's with a great deal of love. It was a place where we all kind of grew up, you know, and we had a great dad. Well, actually, we had 2 great dads, right? We had one that was a war hero. Right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Tom, it's great to see you too, buddy.
All right, Harlan, I see you're.
I'm Harlan Hamburg.
my first year there was 68. Ronnie and Alan Shared and I went to UT to try out for this thing and told Fred Fields we were a package deal. all or nothing. And I'm coming to you from beautiful St. Simon's Island, Georgia, where we've got a lot of.
You did it before William Morris. That was good.
And this is my wife, Rhonda. She's the finest singer in the east of the Mississippi River. Really.
All right, Rebecca Iden.
Hello, Becky Green Uden. I was there in 66 for Annie Get Your Gun, and then back in 69 for whatever we did that summer. I think it was Little Abner and Dark of the Moon, and what was the third one? Or did we just do
Oklahoma?
Carousel.
Oklahoma.
No, it must have been
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm zooming from Houston, Texas, where we are also expecting snow, and this is Houston. We don't get snow, but we're gonna get it today.
All right, somebody else, Charlotte.
I would love to go.
All
if
right,
could.
I was in the same shows with Becky, but also in that infamous Agamemnon. And we had a full audience that night, Barry. You should remember that. But it was an experience for sure.
That one audience filled with puzzled people.
That's probably true. But there were people who also, Lorraine Lester loved that production, just so you know.
Which speaks
And
greatly to her character.
Yes, I am zooming from Corvallis, Oregon, just down the road from Joseph.
Hey, Ronnie, could I go?
Go.
Okay. My name is Jack Dowell. I am the son of Lorraine Dowell, who was the costumer for many years up there.
Right.
And
was a saint.
Yes, I did Little Abner, I did Oklahoma, Dark of the Moon, and I was in a dance belt only with a mask in Agamemnon, which was, I don't think I can do it now.
There are photographs.
There are photographs.
And we will sell you the negatives for a six-figure fee.
Yes. But I must say that I was introduced to my wife of about almost 50 years by Leanne Cresson Venable. And she introduced us, and we have been married ever since. And happy Valentine's to everybody.
And I want to go on record as saying that I said to Leanne before this happened, please don't do that to Olivia. Such a sweet person. All right, David Krebs, I see you there.
Have to push the right button. So I really am David Krebs, and Jan Krebs is back behind here. And we are coming to you from Bowie, Maryland, the man, the knife, and the town, which is really too close to that place where they really had the bad theater yesterday. I don't have a button. I think I was there 68 or 69. What I did find was a recording of Dark of the Moon, which has some of you on it, Claire, among others. So it's probably, not proper because I don't think we ever got the rights to do it. I just happened to be in the sound booth. Anybody remember the sound booth? Just, in the little bunker. And I happened to have a recorder. And yeah, you got it. So I think Lou Bolton is on that also.
Well, David, is it audio, I assume?
1969.
It is audio.
1969.
Okay, if you can get it to me, we'll try to post it.
if you would really like to, I have a couple of ways to get it to you. Talk to me at the end.
Yes. Let's go on. Good
I'm
deal.
just looking at a screen here, and if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna go just to, as I look at them in postage stamps. So I'm going to start at the upper left if people haven't gone yet. And Archie, will you say hi to?
Well, yeah, Archie Wortham. I'm kind of a groupie for Hunter Hills, and one of my most refreshing memories was Steve Martin bringing him up to Hunter Hills. I think it was in 1970, right, Steve? And then subsequently, but every year I was there at UT from 1970 until 1973. I had an opportunity to go up there and see so many of you. Really enjoyed it.
Hey, Archie, wow.
Yeah, I'm in San Antonio, by the way, teaching there.
Archie's had a great career in the United States Army, among other things that he's accomplished. Andrew.
Thank you for your service, Archie.
More than welcome.
Andrew Vorder.
Okay, I was there in 71 to 75. I'm not in the group you called, but anyway.
We're just going.
I've got a chair. I'm the keeper of the chair.
Oh my goodness.
Get on the chair, Edna, get on the chair.
It looks authentic.
And I just have a quick story. My first year there, it was right after cast call, and I went over to the far stage right side where that little stone sitting bench was, far stage right, because I liked it over there before Dark of the Moon. And Mr. Fields was ambling all around to go up to the top to watch the show, and he saw me there by myself, and he said, "What are you doing over here?" And I said, "I just like it." And he, he had his glasses on. He looked down his nose like he does, and a little bitty smile. And we just had this connection because he understood that this 18-year-old kid got it about Hunter Hills. And and yet, it was a moment of communion for us. And I loved Hunter Hills from the very first minute I showed up for auditions the reason I came to auditions, this is just like out of a movie. I was sitting outside after dinner in the dormitory commons. Literally, a copy of the Daily Beacon blew across the field and blew up to my leg. And I looked down at it and picked it up, and it was the page that had the little bitty notice about auditions. And it said, Tuesday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And I looked at my watch, and it was 10 to 7. And so I went down to the Humanities and Social Science building.
Wow.
And here we are now with all of these other great people that shared this incredible experience.
Aren't we glad that wasn't an ad for wanted students to take part in biology department today? Beverly Gwen.
Takes a while to find the unmute button on the iPad. Hi, everybody. Beverly Gwen is what you knew as back then. I am back in Sevierville for the last 30 years and love it here.
That's suburban.
Suburban. Yeah, got to say it right. And I was in 71, Conjure Woman in Dark of the Moon, and a dancer in Oklahoma, and a nun in The Sound of Music. And 72, I was just in Dark of the Moon, and I was Ma Allen. It's good to see everybody.
It's great to see you.
Great to see you, Beverly.
Thanks, Ronnie. Are you throwing it to me now?
Patty.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
Hey, am I visible? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank God Bev just went, because I couldn't remember if I was there in 71 or 72. She answered that. I was there in 72. I was Conjure Woman in Dark of the Moon, Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz, and in the chorus, dancing away in Hello Dolly. So, oh, I'm so glad I got to this work. I spent 15 minutes tapping around on the phone. Hi, hello, where's the camera? Anyway, I'm Susan Elizabeth Rapati. I've gone by Susan, but Sue works. It sounds familiar from you. And oh, I'm so glad I got it to work. Okay, that's my big comment. Oh, I am in Gatlinburg. I'm less than a mile away from the ghost of Hunter Hills from the site. I am right down the road. I should run up there, and probably 15 minutes away from Lou, 20 minutes away from Sevierville. So some of us are still anchoring East Tennessee, I see. But
Keep an
yeah,
eye
I
on the
just got
place.
here. And oh, how delightful to see your faces. You guys are gorgeous. Thank you so much. That's about it. Is there anything else I needed to say?
Not for now.
Okay.
Cindy Sutton.
I was there in '68 for Camelot, Everyman, and Dark of the Moon, and I was a tree and everything. But it was the best summer of my entire life. And I'm now in New Bern, North Carolina. I own a travel agency, which is not a really good thing to have right now. But I've been in that business for a long time. So hopefully I'll get to stay for a little while more.
Good.
Yes. Love seeing everybody.
Okay, and the most recent Hunter Hills alum to win the Best Actress in the entire state of California, the lovely Sherman Fraser.
You're muted.
You're muted, Sherman.
I'm sorry,
There
I live
you
in the
go.
country. We don't do this stuff. I was in Hunter Hills in '77 and did Jesus Christ Superstar, Indians, and Smoke on the Mountain, if anybody remembers Smoke on the Mountain. And I didn't ever have a character name, I don't think ever, but I was in all of the scenes and I cooked for the cast, which got bad at the end of the summer. Everybody got really tired of the baked potato bar. And I've been working in the theater ever since.
Oh, you mean you cooked?
Because I did, I cooked. I made food
I
for the cast.
misunderstood.
Everybody made their own breakfast. No, I did, I cooked the food. And some of it was bad, but I did my best. Thank you.
Sure. All right, now going back up to the top, Deborah Street.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
Deborah Street, here from Kingsport, Tennessee, holding down East Tennessee, Kingsport. I was there in '73 doing The Wizard of Oz, Hello Dolly, and Dark of the Moon. And I guess there's so many favorite things. Like I remember at the Freddie Awards, I got Best Scene Design. Go figure. I loved it. It was the best summer of my life, truly.
I think a lot of us could say that. Going down now, Doug Eckert, the man who wrote our anthem.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I am talking to you from the top of Missionary Ridge. Your screen is going to hopefully tilt around so you can see the view I'm looking at. And out my window. And I am, I think I was only there 1 year as far as actually being in stuff, but I was like Archie. I was a groupie. I was somebody who wanted to be where Steve and Chris were and have at least some portion of the fun that they were having. But I was also poor and needed to work to make money in the summer in order to pay for school in the fall. So, and I think that's about it. I'm retired down here in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Wonderful. Great to see you. Sheila, I'm going to pass you by because you got the big part in this. I hope you've learned your lines. Now go ahead and say hello if you want to. Say a quick. All right, here we go. Linda McCullough.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, some of you don't know me at all, but some of you are probably wondering, what my connection is with Hunter Hill, since I never actually acted in the shows, but I certainly was a groupie. And my first connection goes all the way back to the 1966 season when my partner, Jennifer Ballou, played Winnie Tate, which was the second lead in Annie Get Your Gun.
Yes.
And of course, it is no longer there. I mean, they canned it when they made it a one-woman show, basically, but she played that second lead and did it very well. Anyway, I went to nearly all the rehearsals with her. I quietly sat over there on the wall and listened to Dot Floyd scream Yavo every time he turned around. Dot was just, I was mesmerized by Dot, absolutely mesmerized by her. And the whole situation, actually, Jennifer did not go on to be in theater, but I did. And it was primarily from that experience, and then the experience, I think it was in the fall that Oklahoma was done in Carousel, and I got involved with that because Jennifer was involved with that as well. So anyway, it's just interesting to me, and I've always felt this tremendous connection to Hunter Hills. And of course, I was born and raised in Maryville, so that also gave me the connection. And my friendship with some of you goes back so far, I can't even begin to talk about it. Jackie, for you, for instance. Anyway, I actually get very emotional when I think about Hunter Hills.
One of the other contributions you made to the theater program was you helped drive the production of, I guess, Macbeth down to Miami.
Did I actually do that? No, but I did. I did go to New York and pick up lots of props and stuff for the Anthony Quinn extravaganza.
Quail.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Anthony Quayle. Anthony Quayle, yes, indeed.
Okay, we're going to move on now. Because again, if you feel like I'm missing you, I'm just looking at a screen and going like postage stamps on them. So I will get to everybody. But right now, down at the bottom of that screen on my first screen is one of our noble leaders, a man who directed theater companies and departments all over the United States to great success, Dr. Tom Cook.
Yay! Hello, everyone.
You
Well,
made such a giant impression on so many lives. Thank you, Dr. Cook.
Well, I was there a long time. I was there at the very beginning. Actually, I was at the very beginning, the first meetings the development office had with the department. And Dr. Soper was not interested, but Fred was. And so Bill Morgan and Fred did the first, I think, 2 seasons before the department got involved. And, it was just with the development office. And then the department got involved, and I enjoyed seeing you guys every year, except when I was at Florida State. I missed that season, 70, but I saw every other season. And Barry reminded me, Agamemnon, I think the audience was most mystified probably by Ben's production of Everyman. But they probably also got their most enjoyment because at a certain moment, the beautiful women of the Hunter Hills cast, who were the temptresses of Everyman, were up on the upper platform in their togas, and they didn't put anything on under the togas, and they were backlighted all of a sudden in this dramatic scene, and the audience gasped, and they would have paid to come back every night.
But Tom, to be fair, it's easy to make a Christian gasp.
Oh, well, they were often challenged. They were often challenged, but I finally directed the last season, the 77, and had a good time with with Jesus Christ Superstar and Indians and Smoke on the Mountain. And Sherman, you did a great job cooking. I still remember some of those meals. My stomach still remembers some of those meals.
You are too kind.
People are now
Come with a lot of gas.
People are now jumping all around here, but I'm going to try to. I seem to have left out somebody on this first pane, and then I'll go to the next pane. But I see the name seems somewhat familiar, Leanne Crescent.
Leanne. Well, thanks for calling on me after him. I appreciate that. Hi, I'm Leanne Crescent, and I'm in the next room from Ronnie in New York City. And I was at Hunter Hills in 1969, 70, 71, and 72. And I was there thanks to Mr. Fields, but predominantly thanks to Jackie Wright Miller, who couldn't do Conjure Woman in 1969. So Mr. Fields got me to play Conjure Woman. So I really have Jackie to thank for, well, I guess the rest of my life. So thank you. The other thing I was also Ado Annie. Anything she wasn't doing, I was Ado Annie. I was Helena. I too was in the famed Agamemnon. And Becky Green and I still remember that I can't remember a line from anything to save my life, but I do remember 10 years since the great contestants of Priam's Right.
10 years since the great
Menelaus and
Priam's
Agamemnon, my
might,
lord.
Agamemnon and Menelaus, my lord, twin throne, twin sceptered in twofold power of kings from God. Thank you.
Smith, not your keeper's going to come
Mute
in
him,
and
Jennifer.
keep you babbling.
So thank you.
All right. Thanks. I'm going down now. I'm on my next page. Steve Martin.
Yay.
Unmute, baby.
You're muted, Steve. Steve, you got to unmute yourself. Still got unmute.
There he is.
Oh,
Oh, do it again.
I have to hold it down. Hi, everybody. You look great. Sorry. Tom Cook, thank you for my very first role. It's great to see you. Archie mentioned earlier that he was a groupie and came up to see the shows every year. And I was a freshman to be and stayed over after orientation. And Archie said, well, you're interested in theater. You want to go with us to see Dark of the Moon? And I got to see Ann Dale Gwynn and Ben Hartle in that amazing Dark of the Moon in 1970. And that sort of set my trajectory. I was there 71 through 76, with the exception of 75. I came back in 73 to do the special Dark of the Moon that Robert Hutchins did. And it was a magical place. Got the opportunity to play Preacher Hagler twice and Rich Boy twice, and did South Pacific, Guys and Dolls, Oklahoma, Midsummer Night's Dream. It was phenomenal 5 years, and you folks are phenomenal people, and I love you very much. So that's all I've got to say.
That was great. Now Mary Armour. Unmute.
I did, I think. Hi. So I was part of the itty bitty company of 75. We were designated drivers to hold the place together for a summer, and with a very small cast that grew pretty close. I was lucky enough to be in Dark of the Moon and The Fantastics and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. In Dark of the Moon, I was the townsperson because I was the only one without a line. Because I couldn't say it because everybody kept laughing. And in Fantastics, I was I was mute, me and Sally. And I have to say, Doug, that one of the things that most important things I learned about child rearing, I rented kids, I didn't have my own, but was the song Never Say No from the Fantastics. It was, that whole thing was just a joy. and being Lucy to Donna's peppermint patty, remarkable, just a remarkable season. And it felt really special because there was a great feeling of connectivity. And I see all your faces, and I got to tell you, when I saw Oklahoma, and when I was a kid, we went, one of the neighbors took us up there, and I just kept watching it going, that's where I want to be. And God was good, graceful enough to let me participate. And Leanne, you were playing Ada Annie that summer, and I remembered you because it's just like, this is the best thing in the world. So I am just delighted to see all these faces I haven't seen in centuries. I've not been able to come to the reunions. The first time I had multiple surgeries, and then it just kind of like just worked out the way it did. I am proudly in Rockville, Maryland. We've been here, 25 years or so. And I too am grateful that the dance down the street was far and away from my hometown at the moment. It's great to see you all. I'm just thrilled beyond belief.
And you gave a great intro to Donna Higgins McGill, who's right below you on my screen.
Hi, y'all. Hi, Mary. We did have fun, didn't we? Yeah, we were there. I was there 74 and 75. Did Dark of the Moon the year there were 3 witches, when Tom was our male witch. And I did South Pacific and Celebration, Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, and I think that's all. And I'd just like to say to the people who were there with me, step, step, contract, turn, push. Thank you, Alan, for the hours that we did. Step, step, contract, turn, push. I love Better Hills. I love UT. I love all of you.
All right. We love you, Donna. Hey, Bob Wilson, say hello.
Hi, guys. This is absolutely wonderful. I think I was there in 73 and 74 with Hello Dolly, Wizard of Oz, South Pacific, and I got to, my only real speaking line was Steve said earlier, the special production of Dark of the Moon. I played Paul Allen that night, so that was pretty cool. Quick little story about that. I had to crank the stage around before I walked on stage. And me and this other guy, we cranked that stage, and I came down. Of course, I was supposed to be out of breath. Well, I was literally out of breath. And I came on and I was like, well, Ma, I can't seem to find anybody to marry Barbara. And I was like, just panting and everything. And anyway, I ruined my voice because, so at not halftime, intermission. At intermission, Fred Fields calls down. He says, backstage, he says, "Are you okay?" I said, and I had like a whisper. Well, so everybody gave me like whiskey and honey and everything all during the intermission, because I had the big scene of the birthing scene started the second act, and I had to bust through the doors and have this. I don't remember what the line was, but I didn't say nothing all during intermission. I was like, "Oh, please let my voice come back up." And I bust through those doors, and my voice was just clear as a bell. But I think I had to have surgery, I think, after that summer, because I developed nodes on my larynx. But anyway, it's great to see everybody. I wish I could have made it to the reunions, but I was living in California at the time, and now I live up 10,000 feet in Colorado. So y'all were talking about snow. We've already had like 150 inches up here. So anyway, good to see y'all. Sorry I talked so much.
I was just wondering if UT football might be better served if they thought of the games as Act 1, intermission, and Act rather than the first half and the second half. Now I'm following down my screen again. Bonnie Baker Pendleton, please say hello.
Hello, good to see you all. Yeah, I have a lot of memories from Hunter Hills. I also have a lot of non-memories from Hunter Hills. So I honestly, I know the first year I was there was 70, but then after that, I'm not sure. I mean, I was there. Yeah, never mind. We won't go into that. One of my beautiful memories of Hunter Hills, I had a little room underneath the dressing room that was a dresser and with the mattress on top of it. That was my whole room. But it had a window that looked out on the mountains. And sometimes when I can't go to sleep still, I sort of meditate on that view and remember it fondly. I'm here in Knoxville. I'm running a nonprofit community theater that's been in existence for 44 years. And right now we're so busy doing nothing, sadly. But we hope that we have enough money to get us through until we start doing shows again. I've got 2 children, 5 grandchildren. The only girl I found out yesterday was just diagnosed with COVID, but she's okay. She's doing okay. She's 15. So anyway, see a lot of faces of people I would dearly love to hug. Thanks.
We will all hug again one of these days. Carol Goins, say hello.
The whole unmute thing. Hi, yes, Carol Goins. I'm living in Haverhill, Massachusetts, which is just a little north of Boston now. And I was there from 75 to 77. It's interesting. Well, I don't know how interesting it is, but my first year was the first year that no one lived at the school. So my whole Hunter Hills experience was living at the theater, which I think was a really different experience, but it was still magical. And it's all to do to Nancy Johnston, because 75 was the year that there was no money and the shows had been cast and nobody could do it from UT, because I wasn't at UT, I was at Carson Newman, and Nancy was one of my teachers. And so she brought me in and introduced me to Mr. Fields, and it changed my life forever, truly. And it is all, Nancy Johnston was such, to all of us who were at Carbon Nuisance is what I called it. I did eventually transfer to UT, but it really was, it was all due to Nancy Johnston. And it was an amazing experience, even though it was different, because it's like, Sherman, you guys are going, Sherman cooked? It was like, yeah, we had our first summer, Alan and Alice brought up their refrigerator and their stove. And some of us worked downtown and brought our money back so that we could eat. We all had to pay, you know, it was like, it was such a communal effort. And Donna, oh God, this is, I don't know that, I'm sorry, I really am babbling, but Ronnie had this room and we put a Bible, because Wanda Lee, they had to approve us to live at the theater because there was going to be no Hunter Hills. So we were painting and we put a Bible out in what had been Ronnie's room at the because we wanted, you know, it was like we were going to be good people living at the theater. So anyway, it was a wonderful time. It was a different experience. My last summer was with Tom Cook, which was amazing, and Sherman, and Margot is here as well. So it really is lovely to see you all, and yay, woohoo.
I am truly astonished that Bible did not turn to dust when it went into my room.
I think that's what Donna said.
Such an intro to her, even though she's not in order on my screen, but Nancy Johnston must go after Carol giving her such an.
A wonderful invitation. You can hear me, yeah?
not muted. Hello, all my people, my East Tennessee people.
We love you, Nancy.
I love you. Oh my God, I saw Joe over there. I saw John Lutz. I see Andrew. I see Miss Amy and Beverly, Steve Martin. I saw Steve about 3 summers ago. I was at Flat Carol. You're close to me, huh? I got to visit you. Jackie, thank you so much for all that you do to keep us all connected. Miss Jennifer, Jenny Woods. Oh my God, I'm wearing a little talisman. When I was doing Midsummer Night's Dream, I was the first fairy. Now, I don't believe I was the first fairy at Hunter Hills, but I do. I do wear this. Can't remember where I got this, but despite doing Oklahoma and Sound of Music, I was there at Hunter Hills in 71 and 72. So I got to do Laurie with my Leanne's Ado Annie, and it was just wonderful. And I did Dark of the Moon. That was 2 wonderful seasons, 71 and 72. But the thing that I carry around with me that's sort of a memento is from Midsummer. I thought that was the most wonderful production. I really loved all the fairies that came out looking nude, and we had some Baptist church walk out. So we scored. So that's good. But oh my God, you don't know how much you miss people until you're looking at them. It's so formative in 71 and 72 to be able to do the crossover from that little Baptist college where I was going. And then I went and played with all the grown-ups, and it changed my life. It really did. It made me want to do it. And I kept on doing it for a while. Jess and I live up here in Beacon, New York, and we're retired. And then the pandemic really made sure we were retired. And so come visit. We're 60 miles north of Manhattan, if you're ever in the vicinity. I love all of you. I'm going to cry. So thank you for doing this, you guys.
And before you start to cry, I'll cut you off. And since you mentioned her, even though she goes by the word name Jennifer, I cannot call this woman anything but Jenny Lou Woods. Please say hi.
And that's only the special people get to call me Jenny Lou. So all of you, please call me Jenny Lou. That's how I show up in the program that I was, and I have to, where's Joe? He's not visible to me. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Joe Hyder introduced me to Mr. Fields, and I have to give Joe well, he has all my love anyway, but to give him the credit for actually opening the door for me. And I want to acknowledge and thank Dr. Cook. Oh my goodness, I just so loved, you can't possibly remember me being in your class, but I think maybe 2 classes, I hope. It was wonderful. So summer of 72, with Nancy, I was Naked Mustard Seed.
Yes.
And in My Fair Lady, the other one, Hello Dolly, I was a cupcake. That's what I looked like. I looked like a cupcake. And I was one of the moaning bad girls in Dark of the Moon. Loved it. I have to tell you a quick story. It's not about me. It's about you all and about my husband, who came to one of the, I guess, the most recent reunion. And he is completely out of this orbit. This is not his zone. But he told me at some point, he said, I have never been in a church where people cared as much about each other as I have seen at this reunion. Thank you all so much. Call me Jenny Lou.
Thank you, Jenny Lou. And since you mentioned him, I'm going to call next on that folks who might not recognize him. That is not George Bernard Shaw you see on your screen. It is Joseph Hyder.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. So, Jenny Lou, I love you. You know that. Always have, always will. And I have to say that all of you people have no idea how you have changed my life and how much you mean to me individually and as a group. I look back before Hunter Hills and I see where my life has been and where it's gone. And the crux of my life was those 2 years, those 2 summers at Hunter Hills. I was there, I got it written down. I was Cornelius in Hello Dolly. I was a townsperson in Oklahoma. In Midsummer Night's Dream, I either played Hermia's uncle or Helen. I can't remember which one. Sound of Music, I was the butler. And in Dark of the Moon, I played Conjure Man one year, the same year that I was Cornelius in Hello Dolly, which just about wrecked my voice. I do want to say hello to Barry. He may not remember this at all, but I was in Hale Scrotite with him.
Oh, that was a great show.
It was a good show. And I had wanted to go to Hunter Hills. That was my main focus. And I saw an audition notice, much like Andrew, for an audition for Hale Scrotite. And I thought, well, I need to get some background in auditioning before I try out for Hunter Hills. And so I went to Hale Scrotite and I got the role of, what was it, Dennis Charles Nipple. and I loved it. But that got me primed for Hunter Hills. And again, I just have to say, I love you all. I love you all. And thanks for putting it together.
We all remember your nipple, that's for sure.
And there are photographs, I'm sure.
Hale Scrotite starring Demetrius Athens.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
Just put on his hat now to say hello to all of us, our favorite knight in shining armor, John Lutz.
Who's John?
John, are you muted?
Wait, he's not muted, but
You don't seem to be
I don't
muted,
know.
John, but I can't hear you.
Right.
We can't hear you.
John,
Thumbs up to John.
you're not coming through, John.
I'm gonna see if John can get that fixed. I'm gonna go to Michael Bates. Michael, can you say hello?
Turn on your audio on your computer.
John, unmute yourself. There's a button down at the bottom you need to push.
He's not muted.
I don't think he's
He
muted.
isn't muted, it's just,
He has the same problem when he does these things on Facebook. You can never hear him.
all right, let's
anyone lip read?
move to Michael Bates and see
Need a
if we
lip reader.
can John to
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, great. Well, I was with the play group and was there for the last year of Hunter Hills with doing Superstar and Smoke on the Mountains. David McIntosh wrote an original play. And it was a delight. It was a delightful piece. Well, David McIntosh was a great playwright, really missing. And Indians, we did Coppice Indians with horses and a big roiling production. It was wonderful. And it was my only year there. And unlike, I think most of the rest of you, I was relatively old as an actor, and it wasn't the seminal event in my life like it was for so many of you. And I understand, because I've been directing a lot of theater and doing a lot, and I can see how precious Hunter Hills was to so many people, and it was so sad that it ended. And but anyway, I'm really glad to see you all, and I miss East Tennessee, although I'm happy here in Alaska. And I hope you all have a great Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael. I don't know if anyone remembers this next woman, but I'll let her speak anyway. Amy Holloway, do you want to say hello?
I doubt that anyone would remember me because I was the quietest cast member in the group.
The loudest quiet member.
When I first went to Hunter Hills, I was there from 69 to 72. I was there 4 summers, and Mr. Fields would impress upon us that hemlock trees had been planted in front of the upper stage, and we were to protect those hemlock trees with our lives. So I stood at the back of the stage and protected the hemlock trees until one day Mr. Fields yelled down, "Amy, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get you out of the hemlock trees." And he did. And I was very lucky. I was in Midsummer Night's Dream. I played one of the naked, I was Moth, and I had huge diaphanous wings. And we had to run out, make an exit into the trees, which you had a very tiny little opening, and I would always have to turn sideways and go that way. Jack Center followed me with a candle, a lit candle. Kitty Welch was Peas Blossom. She was in front of me, and we had this plan that if Jack caught my wings on fire, she would throw me down in the dirt, throw me around, and put it out because those wings were just huge. And it was just like, oh my gosh. So the fairies were wonderful. And I also got to play Liesel in The Sound of Music. And I found out about halfway through the summer that the cast hated The Sound of Music because it was a vehicle for all of the Von Trapp children to change clothes constantly throughout the show. James Michael Harrison was our technical director that first year that we did it. And he made me this wonderful little, out of coat hangers and a piece of Liesel's dress, a little, I know, that I have kept and is one of my treasures of Hunter Hills, this little sculpture. And so as that song from The Wiz, not The Wiz, but with the 2 Green Witch, Glinda and all of that.
Wicked.
That song, right, the song, I have been changed for good. That's what Hunter Hills did for me. I have been changed for good.
I told Amy this morning, I don't know where Jamie Harrison is these days, but he was so in love with Amy Holloway that I said, if he knew you still had that thing, wherever he is on this earth, he would move to Atlanta next door to you, just to say. And the next woman I don't know if she did any cooking at Hunter Hills, but she certainly should have. Margot Sala, do you want to say hello? Yeah, you're muted.
There she is. Oh, wow.
Margot, unmute yourself. Tell us what that is. Everybody, I mean, I think we mostly know.
Okay, this is for Tom. That's our Hunter Hills shirt. I made it into a quilt. Actually, I made all the t-shirts into the quilt. I've got probably 40 Clarence Brown t-shirts and pretty much everything I did summer stock. But yeah, Sherman and I were talking earlier that we didn't feel we were real Hunter Hills, even though it was an incredible experience working with Tom, and the shows were just phenomenal, and living there was, it never occurred to me that everyone hadn't lived there until many years later. But I always felt that somehow the groups that came before us were the real Hunter Hills, and that what we were doing was something just a tiny bit different, which is not to say it wasn't amazing, Tom, because I think it was, I mean, the shows were astonishing. And the perk of getting to exercise the horses, you know, that was nice. And having to run out in middle of rainstorms and unplug everything so that no one got electrocuted, that was fun. Because I guess most of y'all just belted it out and you didn't have a whole lot of sound system, but we had a lot of it, didn't we, Michael?
Well, we did. It was awesome. The sound gear was incredible.
It was beautiful, beautiful music.
It was astonishing. And I don't think there's too many technical people on here, but
Hunter Hills had a sound system?
yes, the last year, Hunter Hills had a sound system, and it was quite something.
Some of the mics were in trees.
Yes.
On stage.
We put in a big system. Steve Young was the musical director. He was fantastic. He really was a great rock. You know, he taught the history of rock at the music department, and he really did a great job. Yeah. Thanks for remembering that sound system.
Steve Young did the music on Viet Rock, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember going there the night that Steve had apparently done something like dropped acid. And we were
Literally?
Yes, literally. And so he was doing harmonic riffs instead of where you expected to hear the melody of the thing. And it was an interesting night.
Barry, I'm glad you brought that up, Barry. I don't know, am I muted? Yes. Well, because Steve, you know, I think he was on something during that whole show. And his philosophy was, he had a little group together, but his philosophy was we would play with whoever shows up. And one night, no one showed up. And I think that's probably the night you're talking about.
I can't believe that would ever happen at Hunter Hills.
That was a great show, though.
This was not at Hunter Hills. No, Viet Rock was
Yeah.
Carousel.
Great show.
Yeah, great show. And Barry, you were fantastic.
What you did to those college students to make them think differently about Vietnam through that show.
Oh,
was very formative for I think all of us.
Yeah.
Steve Young used to say that he thought his PhD was worthless and he was going to erase a letter every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Any more?
Unmute.
Catherine Pearson.
Ronnie, you're muted.
Okay, am I okay now?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Steve Westfield.
I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, speaking of Vietnam, Viet Rock, I showed up at UT. I was a physics major at Tennessee Tech. I transferred to UT out of nowhere at the last minute. And next thing you know, Tom Cook put me in Viet Rock. And I was like, oh my God, what in the world is going on? That was the most fabulous show in the world. And also I got to kind of be a prop person moving around in fire. Fire was unbelievable because I was a puppet person. You may not remember, we revived the children's program while I was there with Miss Julian, and we had CT Mouse, and he walked around stage. And then we also did Ben and Me, where all the characters were on stage with 3-foot-tall puppet mice. Anyway, that was my introduction to UT. And of course, that was a spring show. Then everybody went off to Hunter Hills, but I stayed back and worked with Al Harris and did shows. And then in 76, I think summer 76, Robert Hutchins said, will you come with us to an audition to Hunter Hills and I was the tech person, set designer. I did Preacher Hagler and the sergeant and well, okay. Of course, we've found a few sales since then, so I'll just skip over nouns. And anyway, it was a great summer. It was a wet summer. I think it was the wettest summer they've ever had. But we did fabulous shows. We're all supposed to, if we've got a little story, I just have to, and this will go to Carol Goins. I was Preacher Hagler. And so when I came out of the woods to greet Carol Goins on stage, and Bill Hague was there, and I was supposed to step onto the round table. My foot went in the crack and I went all the way up to my knees, and I just kept talking and just pulled right out of the ditch and kept on. Bill Hague lost it. Then Carol started laughing, and and I was trying to speak. Carol turns her back. Then Bill Hague leaves the stage. He just left the stage, and Carol's yelling backstage to him the lines. He responds. Somehow we got off there. I said, "Come go over the mountain with me," and I got the hell out of there. It was anyway, that was my best Hunter Hills. And I know everybody's been there, whether you were there for 1 minute or for all the years. It was just an unbelievable space. And if you, like me, love the mountains anyway, to have wonderful people in a wonderful place with lots of talent and freedom to just do. And by God, we did. And it's good to see a bunch of y'all. I haven't seen you in forever.
All right,
I made it to New York to celebrate our 70th, and we saw a bunch of y'all face to face. We traced you down, and Nancy Johnson even came over and had lunch with us. So good to see you, at least digitally.
Wonderful to see you.
Okay, I see John Lutz. I see your mic is on, so go. No, it isn't. Not working, John. Not working. How about, wait, keep working on it, John. Catherine Pearson.
And that's such a.
How are you? It's lovely to see you. I sort of have a very interesting view of Hunter Hills because initially I took care of your money. The first 2 years I went to Hunter Hills, which I can't exactly remember. I think it was 71, 72. I've seen all of you on stage, though, I have to say, so it gets a little foggy. But I would count that box office. And one of the things I remember, particularly during Sound of Music days, is Mr. Fields would take care of Rand. And Rand was about 3 years old. And he would go up to the back and he would take Rand to his apartment up there and fix him green beans, tomatoes, a slice of onion, and a dollop of mayonnaise on top. To this day, that is the way I eat my green beans, thanks to Fred Fields. And I think Rand Pearson does too. But then I was lucky enough to come back as Titania in Midsummer Night's Dream, and all my fairies are here, and it was lovely. And I do remember with great pleasure being wrapped in that gauze every night by Bob to elicit that vision of nudity. That Puck, my little Ronnie Venable, was right there on stage with me, and Ben Harville as my husband, king of the fairies, and that was magical. And then finally, I was able to come back as a member of the play group for that event, that virtual reality event called Now Everybody Plays, where you think people didn't know what Agamemnon was about. Now Everybody Plays, they had no clue because it had no plot. So therefore, we had a great time, and it's wonderful and lovely to see all of you. And some of my memories of Holston Hills, that's where I live, Hunter Hills, are so tied up with Tom and Fred Fields and Ben and so many of you that I see, the faces here, how wonderful that was. And Jennifer Green used to babysit for Rand Pearson. And I remember and am such good friends with so many of you and love you dearly. And theater is life.
So true. So very, very true. I mean, Mr. Fields taught Rand to eat green beans with tomatoes, and I can proudly say that Tom Jones, my friend Tom Jones, and I taught Rand Pearson to say the word bullshit. Greatest accomplishments of my life. John, how you doing? John Lutz, is your mic working now? No. Let's, have I left anyone out? I'm just trying to look back and forth at this big, big screen. Lou Bolton has not said anything.
Well, I have something from Kathleen Blackman, Covington. She sent this on Facebook today, so I'll just throw it in while John is trying to get some sound. But she says, Happy Hearts Day to you and to all of those beautiful, talented, wonderful folks with huge hearts and loving spirits who made my years at Hunter Hills Theater the magical, life-altering thrill I treasure forever. You changed my life. You filled my heart and soul with a thrilling joy each time we stepped on that old concrete and sawdust stage together. It is my sincere, great wish that you all experience that full heart of love on this and every remaining day of our lives. Merry Hearts Day with all the love in mind. Kathleen Blackman, Dolly, Maria, Nellie, girl.
That's very sweet. You might remember her as Kathleen
Jordan.
Kathleen Jordan, Covington, Rhodes, Blackman, and I think there were a couple of others.
And Covington, and then Covington.
Covington, yeah. Have I done, Jennifer, you haven't said anything other than your tech advice. Can you, Jennifer Green, you want to just say hello?
She's been introduced.
Okay. Well,
Larry,
is that everyone? I think we've.
Yeah.
If you didn't get a chance to say hello, raise your hand.
One suggestion to John, if he's got an external speaker plugged into his computer, it may cut off his microphone. It does on my computer. So try unplugging an external speaker.
Oh, the other thing he might want to do is just try to come in on his phone.
John,
and he
can
talk
you hear us?
that.
Okay.
John, can you hear us? All right. Are you on a laptop? Yes. Okay. Down in the bottom corner, do you see that microphone icon?
No, he's on a PC.
Oh, you're on a PC. Same thing, a laptop. Do you see if you take your cursor down to the bottom, do you see that microphone? Just to the right of the microphone, there's a little caret pointing up. Press that. And then on that caret, when that displays a sort of pop-up menu, go up to built-in microphone, external microphone. Can you, is that where the check is? No, none of this is. You look puzzled.
Maybe John could send his message in a tweet or a chat. A chat.
Oh, the chat.
A message.
I've been chatting with him, but he hadn't responded to that.
How about it now?
Yes.
Oh,
great.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Good job, Barry.
Yeah, let's see. Barry got me close, but then I had a particular microphone I had to choose, and it was the name of the microphone, which I've never seen before.
Oh, good. Confusing.
But anyway, got it done. Thank you. Pat was trying to hook me up on my phone. Let's see. I love this. And I want to say, through my life, and I'm sure I'm speaking for all of us, through my life, Hunter Hills touched me over and over and over again. Barry Nolan was the best man at my first wedding. 5 people in a church that sat 1,000. Steve Martin gave me a huge gift that I hope he benefited from as much as I do. He knows what I'm talking about. Tom, I was at Folger Shakespeare when your students came up from South Carolina. Nancy J, we stumbled around New York on occasion when you belonged and I was still just as stupid as I've remained. I had a bunch of these things, specifics, because I just wanted to say, we've never left. And thank you all. I'm glad when I need something, there you all are. And I hope I could do the same back.
All right, I think that is our cast call. I believe that's our cast call. So I'm handing things over to Jackie now.
Okay, thank you, Ronnie. During this cast call, which turned into sharing lots of stories, which is great, we heard the names of everybody here. And then there are a lot of more people who were not able to Zoom in. But before we go any further, we need to talk about the special group of Hunter Hills friends that we hold dear in our hearts, who are no longer on this planet with us, but they certainly are in our hearts. And at this time, Jennifer has put together an in memoriam section, and we want to remember and to honor each one of them. Jennifer?
Let me share my screen. And get the right screen.
Large screen. Almost sticky.
Right.
Can you lighten it there? Help. Help. Who? Mm. Mm.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Did we miss anybody?
If any of you know the name of anyone else who has departed that we don't know about, please unmute yourself and say that person's name so we can add them to the
Only a
list.
minor change there. They're both gone, unfortunately, but that picture at the first identified as Dorothy Floyd was actually Billy Harris. That's the only difference that I saw there.
Hal Jernigan.
Oh my gosh, you're right. It was Billy.
Hal Jernigan.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, we lost Bill Morgan. We
Yes.
lost
Yeah.
Bill Morgan
Bill
this
Morgan,
year.
of course.
This
Bill
past year, we lost Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
Yes,
missed,
we
God.
did, Jennifer.
I had him in there. Somehow I must have gotten.
Let me ask Jennifer for a minute. Now you had a much longer list. Were these just the ones that you could find photos for, or?
Well, if I didn't have a photo, then I just listed their names.
The name, yeah.
Yeah, Nancy was trying to mention somebody.
Well,
it wasn't somebody that I wanted to mention. I would just love to have a copy of that, but we're taping this. Okay, right?
We are
Yes, and
taping.
actually, yeah,
And
I would,
Morgan
I really actually would like to have us repeat that
I would too.
if we could.
Yeah.
Jen, could you
It
repeat
was really
that
fast.
for us? Because
Yeah,
we
Could you
have
do
a
a little
little bit
slower?
of technical problems getting.
I'm gonna repeat it without music, okay?
Can you slow
Jen,
down?
can
the
we do
screen?
that?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no music this time, though.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, wait, I'm at the end. Hang on.
I don't know if I can watch it twice.
Hmm.
Whoa, it's really going fast now.
Sorry. Uh-oh. Hey. Technical difficulties here. So I apologize. I did have Bill Morgan's picture in there, and that's Billy Harris. I should have recognized that with her cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very rare photograph of Billy Harris. She hated to have it. She would kill me when I even tried to point the camera at her.
I remember she tore up a photograph that you gave her one time right in your face.
I should say many of these photos are by Harlan Hamburg. So thank you, Harlan.
So was that it? You're not going to play it again?
Are you not seeing it?
No.
No.
You got to share it.
I thought I did.
Well, what's
It was
zipped through.
It went through backwards.
Are you seeing it now?
Yeah, that's almost the beginning. There,
Here we
okay.
go.
Now
Sorry.
start playing. There.
Okay.
Now it's running.
Maples.
I know I have a picture of Mr. Page somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, I have one of him.
Hi, Mom.
I know.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Lizzie, Claire, Sydney. Jim, my dear.
Jimmy.
Tom.
Man.
My goodness.
Grinlets. Beautiful stand.
Laura.
And Bill.
Rick.
Vicky, Uncle Ricky.
Oh.
There he is.
Okay, that was fun.
Jackie,
yeah.
could I
Yes.
could I share screen with Doug? I want to ask him something about the song that we heard the first time. The song, I Remember You. Doug, where are you?
I'm here.
He's right
Doug,
above you on my screen.
Doug, I would like to talk about that song because it's become an important song for all of us. As I remember it, in 1986 at our homecoming, it was Sunday, which was the last day. And some of us had gone out to Hunter Hills to give an award to Loy. Of course, he didn't attend the banquet. And you came and you had this song. And as I recall, you had brought it, but it had not been heard so far. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I guess you said, I've got this song. And I said, well, let's record it. So that's how it got recorded that time, so far as I can remember. Were you shy about showing it to the people, or
Yeah.
were you? Where did the song come from inside you that brought it forth to share with us?
Well, I mean, I think everybody today has said, I don't need to explain that. Everybody who's got a block on this call knows where it came from. I was explaining to my wife that it's odd that we don't connect very often. We don't, at least I don't. Maybe I'm the exception. Y'all are talking all the time, but I don't hear much. I don't reach out, and yet there's still this just intense emotional connection between us, and it's just awesome. And that's really what I was trying to say.
And you did it so well, it's become almost, as Ronnie said, an anthem for Hunter Hills homecomings. And it's a song that I treasure. And I thank you so much. It is a beautiful Valentine that you've given to all of us. And I think the amazing thing is that it almost wasn't heard, but thank goodness it was. And thank you.
Well, thank you.
I would say
Amen
the
to
same
that.
thing about John Lutz's poem.
It's going to come.
Oh,
We're getting
good.
Yes.
That's next.
Big
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure you can see me, but if you can hear me, that's all I need.
All
We can
right.
hear you and see you.
Well, now,
You're a real person.
let's get on with our show here.
Well, Jackie,
And
I have a suggestion.
yes,
Since the cast call
I
went
know,
on for like
I know what you're going to
hour
say.
and a half, and
We don't
most
need-
people did comic Valentines and from the heart things, but there may be a few
Absolutely.
more. And then if there are, then let's end with John's poem as probably the Valentine of all Valentines.
Yeah.
But we haven't
Well,
met
I'm going to
Sheila.
give,
We haven't met Sheila
well,
yet either.
hang on a second. I'm going to give the people who haven't had that opportunity, because our cast call, which was supposed to zoom right by, just didn't. So, which is great. This is fine.
Yeah.
So once again, if you find out about anyone who has passed away, please let us know. Send us info on the Hunter Hills group page.
Charlotte has her hand up.
I think we
Charlotte?
should acknowledge, Donnie Thomas, who is in dementia. So just to recognize Donnie's love for Hunter Hills, and he was up there also. So I just wanted to say that. Right, Ronnie?
Yeah, that's very nice of you to point that out. Yeah.
That's the part.
Oh my
I'm glad
gosh.
you said that, Charlotte, because Donnie worked on the first reunion with me,
Yeah.
and he did the second reunion. No, I'm sorry. Robin worked on the first reunion with me. Donnie did the second reunion, and then Donnie worked on the third reunion with me. And he's the one who wrote the toast, and he loved Hunter Hills. And I'm sorry that he is where he is today, but he is being taken care of, and that's all we can hope for. But we love it, and he knows that. So
Donnie was
let's
my,
do this. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say Donnie was my general manager the year 77. You did an outstanding job. Chris Grabenstein did the business and Donnie was the general manager. He was great.
Yes, he was. And he still is great.
And
So
still is. Yes.
let's go on with this show and thinking about all the dear people that we've been thinking about today. It's all stirred up a lot of memories for everybody, and some have amused us and some have touched our hearts, maybe a bit of both. And since today's Valentine's Day, if you haven't already, we hope that we want to give you an opportunity to share a Valentine. Either it can be a funny one or it can be a heartfelt Valentine. Either one. You might be remembering a person or an event or a show or a song or a special moment. We've talked about a lot of those wonderful things today. Whatever, however you want to express the Valentine in your own words, it could be you have a poem or a song, however you like, preferably in a minute or less. Some of the Valentines are heartfelt and may touch us. And let me tell you, I'll start with my Valentine. I have funny memories and I have tender ones. But as far as Hunter Hills is concerned, it was a wonderful structure. It was a wonderful playing field. It was a great theater, 7 stages, 2,500 people. And we were lucky enough to work there. We were lucky enough to cut our teeth on that wonderful place. But actually, Hunter Hills now is a state of mind. It's a state of mind. And when I think about if I could hand a Valentine to Hunter Hills Theater, I would have to hand it to all of you. I would have to hand it to everyone who ever participated in any way. Hunter Hills has made my life different than it would have been. Hunter Hills has made all of our. What is that? I'm hearing. So I guess too that I'd have to say, here's my heart, Fred. Here's my Valentine. And to Tom Cook, here's my heart, Tom. He was my mentor in college, as well as Fred. And I remember Archie will remember this too. There's a little funny thing. In Tom's acting class, we were having an exercise in taking stage. And we were just going to do an improv on how to take stage. And so I thought, I just got up and walked to the front of the class and I said to the class, sure is hot in here. And I ripped off my wig and fanned myself. Mom fell on the floor and so did Arch. And we were doing a scene from Crucible. And I was playing a role I never usually played. And after it, Tom was critiquing us and he told me something I will never forget. And it changed the way I thought about what acting really was. He said to me, as his critique, Jackie, if you would just drop that veneer of sophistication, you'd have it. And I'd never thought of myself as having a veneer, And we all know what that is. Of sophistication. I thought I was who I was, but I wasn't. So that's something I will never forget. And if anybody else, think about this, whether it is a lighthearted Valentine, think about it. Now, to talk about that is a woman, a gal who never grew up at Hunter Hills. She's our very own Miss Metcalf, Mammy Yoakum, Regita, and Minnie Fay, and my maid of honor at my wedding, and my sister by choice, and my dear friend Sheila. Are you still with us, girl?
Cheers.
Cheers.
I know we're not to the toast yet, but Lord, I was getting tired. So anyway, all right. We're going to share other Valentines too, but I'm going to go real fast this time. Just hail Agamemnon, hail Agamemnon. St. Clair, I have a cramp in my toe. I cannot go with you, cousin. Okay, every man. Do you remember Dark of the Every Monday? Remember the Freddies? Somebody already mentioned those. All of that stuff was so wonderful and so rehearsed, but so many of our things were just not rehearsed and so spontaneous. And even though, okay, I never got to say who I am. I am Sheila Lucas, Sheila Bailey Lucas, Mammy Yoakum, yes, and many, many more, Miss Metcalf, all of it. But Brigitte, my big sister Liesl, and my big brother Ronnie are here. So anyway, and so funny stuff just happens. And Nancy, I don't know whether you remember this or not, but as God is my witness, dress rehearsal night, you came on and said, "Are you threatening me? Are you allowed me to slobber all over me like a dog? You gonna do something about it? Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Judd Fry. You're just a mangy dog and somebody ought to shoot you." I thought Fred Fields was going to roll from the top of the theater all the way down. And I don't know if we ever finished the run through or not, but I'll never forget it. I'll never forget 4 o'clock in the morning, crawling down the hallways at Gatlinburg Pittman High School, moaning and groaning at the little vent where Precious, what's his name?
Mr. Page.
Yes, Mr. Page.
Mr.
That's where
Page.
we lived. And we'd sit outside that vent and go, "Ah, we're hungry." The door would open, the keys would just come flying out into the hall. And then Ben Harville, this is another hallway story. I don't know who was doing what to who, coming back from the showers, but Ben went into a tirade down the hall, which caused all of us to open our doors and look out. "I don't want to ever see anybody naked in these halls again unless they're naked with a person of the opposite sex." Okay, good job, Ben. Good job. So just stuff like that. And of course, Harlan and Andale's exchange under the table, the watermelon, starting with, what was it, bubble gum, Harlan? Chewing gum? Ronnie, you remembered. But anyway, it ended up with Harlan handing Andale a watermelon on stage from under the table. And all you could see was whoop, her face just dropped from behind the table. It was crazy, crazy fun. We all had fun stuff to do. So now at this point, oh, and by the way, I'm in Texas. We're expecting snow any moment. We love it. We love snow, but not a lot of it. So we're hoping we can get out and around. But so this is the time, if you've got something else funny and you didn't get to share it when we were announcing you, please do so now. So if you'll just unmute. Yes, Louis.
Well, I don't have a funny story, but I do have a funny Valentine for you. It's not here, but if you will go to YouTube and if you will search Hunter Hills Theater, that's Hunter Hills Theater, not Hunter Hills Gatlinburg, but Hunter Hills Theater, you will find that we now have a Hunter Hills YouTube channel.
Yay!
So on that channel, you will see something from Dark of the Moon, and I guarantee you will laugh.
Great. Get us out of Zuckerberg.
Great.
I'll put full details on the Facebook site about, but the main thing is to subscribe. We need 100 subscribers in order to have our own Hunter Hills URL, whatever it is. So subscribe, get your family, friends, strangers, whoever you can drag into, and get those 100 people. But you will enjoy it. There's a few things on now. There will be more.
Great.
See you on
Charlotte.
YouTube.
Okay, I have a Valentine for Lou.
All right.
When we were doing Camelot, and I see several of our knights here, John and just several of you
Harlan.
gentlemen, you will remember that you had tights dyed to match your costumes, and you had a dance belt dyed to match those tights. And I was working in the costume shop, so we got to re-dye some of those over the summer. But Lou being Merlin, he wore the white tights and the white dance belt. And we were doing a costume check, and he came proudly out of the dressing room wearing the tights with the dance belt over them. And
I don't remember.
I think Susie Nelson and Karen Shepherd both just fell on the floor for a bit, and then told him that it was meant to wear those the other way around. And he went back and changed, and thereafter it was all taken care of. And I told the story that real briefly, that some of us wanted to paint the mountain with beautiful colors. Mr. Fields wanted the mountain brown and gray. And we would go and paint streaks of blue and purple in the rocks, and he would come back and make us do it over in brown. So we finally got the concept that we would just take glitter and put it in the paint. And he was fine with that because he couldn't see the glitter in the daylight. But come nighttime, when the lights hit the thing, by golly, there was all the glitter. And I will say, if any of you are in Knoxville and go by the Clarence Brown, run down to the costume shop. My daughter, Melissa Caldwell Weddick, is the manager of the costume shop. Clarence Brown. So we still have a connection.
That's great. Does someone from the earlier years, 66 to 71, want to
Claude's hand
share
is
a
up.
heart?
Hey, hello. Hi, a funny story, and Lou remembers this story. 1966, Annie, get your gun on the side round stages that rotate, Well, Annie has landed. She's on board ship, and she gets a message, an excited, wonderful message that Frank Butler has boarded, and he's coming to see her. Well, I was the messenger, and I was told to make sure it was so important that I've been running down the hall to get that message to her. And so there I was waiting to deliver the message. I got the cue. I ran through the door. Apparently the stage was slightly damp, and in my new cowboy boots, I delivered the message as I skidded right past them all and went overboard into the grass.
I remember. I broke character.
It was fun.
Charlotte, I see Charlotte's hand up. Go ahead, Charlotte.
Okay, I mean, you're not the only person who slid on that side stage. I did in Little Abner, and George Roberts just kept ad-libbing, and I ad-libbed with him. But the story I want to tell just briefly, and I told this story to my students because I said, this is the kind of standard that I had. I am the person who sprained her ankle in rehearsal in Little Abner. They took me to that small clinic in Gatlinburg. Mr. Fields came down, he looked at me, and this ankle went black and blue immediately. He looked at me and he said, no bone, no blood, you'll go on. And I did.
I remember Valentine. It's not funny. The night the moon came out on cue.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Bingo.
And there's so many nights when the rain, listen to that rain. I mean, the mountains reacted to that show, did they not? The mountains did react.
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready to jump in if I
Go,
can.
Bev. Go, Bev.
Well, so many of you have said things that have jarred my memory, which is not at all what it used to be. But Rick and Steve, myself, and Tom Jones had been at the Rocks all day, tripping the light fantastic, shall we say. And we had to do Dark of the Moon that night. And Rick was one of my witches, and Tom was one of my witches, and I was Conjure Woman. And I don't know if Joe remembers this night, but I was still seriously tripping the light fantastic. And I was scared to death I was going to go right off that top page when I delivered the fly line. I was just going to fly off. And fortunately, everybody, all my Valentines, stood down below and said, "We'll break your fall. We'll push you into the hemlocks." So thank you all so much for that. And I'm glad I survived that little event.
If I could I add one thing too? And you mentioned Tom Jones, and that answered my question. One of the people that you have forgotten is Tom Jones from Maryville College, who did the costumes one year and came up there. And I was wondering, I said, that's the wrong picture for Tom Jones. So we had two Tom Joneses working at the theater.
Oh.
And there ought to be one for the swayback horse in Camelot. Hopefully John will mention that.
I remember one of my favorite things with Little Abner. I think it was the first year we did it. Fred Fields came down and said, I need the ladies pushed up because there was not a bosom in the crowd. And so it became my job to paint. They would come by my makeup area and I would paint cleavage on all the girls. Rub it in. It was a very nice memory of Little Abner.
Yes, Jack. But there was a year with Robert Lyons with Patty Bryant in one of those wonderful Dark of the Moon dresses. And Robert came by and looked at Patty, took out these huge scissors and went shh, 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 to that dress. Mr. Fields saw her within a few moments and just went.
I just want to remember Sheila singing Rock Top at that bar that we all used to go to after performances. Don't remember the name of the bar, but I remember
The Shed.
Yes.
Shed.
All those sing-alongs.
Oh yeah, great times.
Somebody
else, a funny Valentine. I know we're running out of time, and I know there's a lot more on our little program, hardly little. And thanks to Lou, before we get out of here and don't say it. My God, Lou, thank you so much.
Yes, Lou, thank you.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Thanks, Lou.
I'd like to say to two Valentines that kept me laughing a lot in the years that I was at Hunter Hills. And Ronnie Venable and Tom Jones wanted to tickle me all the time. And they'd always say, you love it because you're laughing. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I'd do it right now.
What?
I would do it right now. You used to beg for it.
Oh, right. I used to beg for you to kidnap my stuffed bear also.
They tormented your bear.
That bear is evil and needs to be dealt with.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Bonnie, you look great, by the way. You look fabulous.
You do, Venable.
Yes, everybody.
Sorry. Thank you. I'd already muted myself.
All right. Anyone else share something wonderful, heartfelt, or funny?
Yes, I would like to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank goodness. I had a long list of folks that touched me all through my life from Hunter Hills, and I just wanted to finish the last one because it's important. And that was that I think it was Barry thanked Archie Wortham for the service he gave us in the service. And one of the things that I did was Archie and I got together in San Antonio, and he invited me to go watch one of his classes. And it was, it gave me enough energy to last through the last few years, because Archie, after he taught his people the thing he was supposed to teach them, began a special class after the class about living skills. And there were people there who benefited that day right in front of me. It wasn't just, you know, I heard a rumor that. I saw him talk to people about how to make their lights go, how to shop for groceries, just a bunch of things that he is giving us service now, every bit as amazing as what he did in the military. And if we could go and touch every person here, I bet, and find out the gifts they've given us or others like us all along the way, because that's the kind of people you are. So I was at Flat Rock a few years. We could go on and on. I have that was my Valentine. You're tremendous. I wish I had spent more time and learned more, and I spent as much as I could and learned as much as I could, which low bar.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Lou,
I
just have
anyone
Tom,
else have?
I just have to really briefly, I don't want to hog this, but I want to say something about Tom Cook. Of course, he changed my life, but I have to tell you this story about Tom. When we did the parody of Dark of the Moon, that first reunion, Tom looked at me and he says, "That's the way I thought it always should be done."
Oh, that was great. It was at Rain Tempo.
Yes. You remember.
Does anyone have any other Valentine to share, whether it's heartfelt or whether it is an amusing story you remember?
Rebecca Hutton does. Rebecca does.
I did the first production in '66 because you know, Jen and Jeff were the kids in it, and I had to go with them because there was nothing else for me to do that summer. So every year, Mr. Fields would let me, after I went to Rice, and I guess it was the summer before I went to Rice. Anyway, Mr. Fields would let me just come and be in the show. I never had a role particularly, you know, I was always just in the chorus. Except the highlight of my career was the year that I got to be the midwife in Dark of the Moon. And I actually had a solo line to sing, I think. I really thought I'd kind of made the top of my profession by that time.
What was that line, Becky?
What?
What was that line?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's out there burning in the yard.
But I you know, the spending the summer with Leanne and Amy was just, you know, knowing that every year I got to come back from college and there would be Leanne and Amy, you know, it was just so great. And doing the laundry, remember washing those damn petticoats that you had us make for Hello Dolly, and then the sawdust got stuck in that net, and then we had to wash them, and then they got limp, and then we had to starch them, and yeah, that was a fun summer. Anyway, I was always grateful to Mr. Fields for letting me just come and be in the chorus.
Oh man.
Anyone else?
Lou is needing us to move on. I think Lou needs us to move on. He has
anyone
holding
a
up
Valentine first.
I just have, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just have one request, if I could, please. The year that I was at Hunter Hill, Margaret Wheeler and I became very close. Having moved on from college, we lost contact, but I did see her at the 2006 or 2007 reunion.
Six.
Yeah, okay.
Deborah,
If anyone knows where she is,
she lives in Atlanta.
please contact me on Facebook at Deborah, Debra, Street, Street, Kilgore, Kilgore. I would love to see her, and it would make my Valentine. I want to know where she is.
Deborah,
And if
just
she's
so
okay.
you know, she lives in Atlanta, and I spoke to her the other day and told her that I had seen where you were looking forward to talking to her. So I will let her know to get in touch with you on the Facebook page. But she's
And
here
that
in
would
Atlanta.
that would make me so happy. So happy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
But
I
I
could,
want
real,
to say
yeah, could I, real quick, I want to give a quick Valentine to
yes.
Nancy Johnson. And you know of what I speak. There was a particular period when I was between places to stay, and you and Chris helped me out. I never forget that. The other one goes to Dr. Cook. I can't say enough about what you did for me, inspiring me, and I will give credit to you and Dr. Yeomans more so. The things that John was talking about me, I learned from people like you. But I think you remember this particular moment in Indians at Clarence Brown Theater, and Jim Lighthacker was on the horse, and we had to get him back, and the horse went over too far, and you were up in the booth and saying, well, how are we going to get, we couldn't figure it out. And finally, somebody, for some reason, it came to us to tell him to get off the horse, and then we could move that. But thank you so much, Dr. Cook and Nancy, and also John.
Love you, Archie.
Anybody else? Okay.
Lou.
Oh, Lou, you're waving. Louis?
Well, I have a Valentine that's probably for all of us. When I started with Hunter Hills Theater in 1966, I was really an outsider. I wasn't from Knoxville, where many people were who were at Hunter Hills. I wasn't in the theater department. I wasn't in the music department. I was a shy, quiet guy, but somehow I got in the back door of Hunter Hills. And even when I got to Hunter Hills, I was still an outsider because I didn't stay in the luxurious Pittman Center suites and have all that wonderful camaraderie with all of you. Instead, I was under the women's dressing room in one of those dark, dank rooms with the bugs and the spiders and such.
Ooh.
So that's the way it went my 3 years. And then along came 1986. And we had that wonderful, wonderful homecoming. The last time we were able to be on the grounds at Hunter Hills Theater. And I was still an outsider because I was behind the camera, filming everything. But there was a moment when we were out on the grass down by the kitchen, and the group was singing Not Listen Too Late, but what is it, John? Last Thing on My Mind. That was so beautiful. We did not use that when I was in Dark of the Moon. So it came in
You
later.
gonna sing it tonight?
It just struck me as being so beautiful. It was like the voices of angels. And I realized at that time that I didn't want to be outside. I wanted to be in that groove. I wanted to play in that sandbox as much as I could. And so the years went on. Nancy was nice enough to get me good tickets for Secret Garden, which she was in on Broadway. Carol Goins got me really good seats and a backstage tour of Phantom of the Opera. And then in 2006, when I worked on all those photos of you, people I did not know, because in 86, I didn't know most of you, just the ones from 66, 7, and 8, basically. So you were all sort of strangers to me. So working with your photos, seeing your names and your faces, I just really fell in love with you. And so I felt closer and closer to the group as it's gone. And after our dress rehearsal in January, I was sitting one night and I thought of a quote that I had really loved when I lived in Nashville back in the late 60s after I'd left Hunter Hills. And the quote sort of sums it up. And it is coming together. And that means coming together those first times rehearsing in Ayers Hall, coming together, getting in the bus, driving to Gatlinburg, coming together all those rehearsal times, all those years, coming together, getting our costumes, coming together, cast call, coming together, doing the shows, coming together, cleaning up the bathrooms, all those comings together. Coming together is an opening, a portal, a round door. Coming together is an opening. And what enters in is love. And so that's my Valentine for you, for all of us, for being the way we are with one another, embraced in the Hunter Hills circle of love.
You know, Louis, I always thought the reason people stayed underneath the theater was to carry on without adult supervision.
I remember was how creative Lou was with egg crates and egg cartons in that space.
You're talking about the King's Throne in Camelot.
You got it.
Wow.
And I remember you decorating that room under the theater to be like a Japanese garden, and you had stepping stones. And when you went to visit, you were not allowed to step in the water. You had to step on the stepping stone.
That's the year I expanded to 2 rooms. The first year I was between Dennis Winkler and Don Martin, the dancer.
Donnie Martin.
Yeah. I was in New York one time, walking down the street, and who did I meet but Don Martin? I couldn't believe it. What a coincidence.
He didn't want you to step in the water in his room because it wasn't water, it was mildew.
Probably. But I think maybe, Jackie, if nobody has anything else, we should get to that that super Valentine from John.
Right, from John.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all for sharing your laughter and your hearts. At this time, if you would not mind muting your microphones, that would probably be a helpful thing to do. We're going to end with a final Valentine that has a lot of laughter and it has a lot of heart, and it has delighted and moved everyone who has heard it. It's a special Valentine's for Hunter Hills and for us, and it was written by John Lutz, and it was read by Dale Dickey originally. But this afternoon, we are fortunate to have it read by the author. John Lutz is here to do the honors. John?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. We spent our summers. Elegy to Hunter Hills Theater. Some time ago, to suffer my fears, let's not count how many years. We spent our summers as children, really, or maybe dreamers who didn't know or didn't care that we couldn't do the why we were there, and so we did it. We spent our summers singing, dancing, growing up, emoting, romancing, living hard, spilling our guts, dropping our guard, shaking our butts underneath the stars. Boys and girls together, a little faster in stormy weather. We spent our summers horny, listening to Fred, listening to Tom, trying to get each other into bed, turning blockbusters into bombs and back again. Selling ourselves to them and to each other, selling our tickets, wallowing in private hells, smiling for our mothers, communing with the crickets, hanging the lights, building the sets, having our fights and surely some regrets, becoming mountain men. I mean, mountain persons. Being blindsided by all the factors that changed anarchic children into a team of actors. To misquote a sage from a different stage, those were the plays, my friend, we thought they'd never end. And like the ambulance that rammed the ticket booth, we charged headlong out of our youth, not knowing that we might never find anything like what we left behind in the echoes of a Gatlinburg hollow where we spent our summers. So where's the magic? Because it was magic. And I want to feel it once again, because it's more important now than it was then. Because if I had it, I could call back the faces that fill the empty chairs beside us here tonight. We'd have one more time to do it right, a few more hours to deny the cares of this uncertain world. One more time to defy the final curtain, to bring down the walls in our own way, to have our say about what to do with the theater where we spent our summers. But I find I have no wand. I am, like those summers, gone. Still, I'm proud to be part of the legacy, and each of us carries the flame. So listen to me. Call up the names. Call those faces into mind that held your hand when you cried, that climbed the mountain blind, that did the downtown run beside you, that slept beside you, that followed your horse with a shovel, that rehearsed with you, that splashed in mountain streams with you, that cursed at you, that shared your Broadway dreams, that hurt you, made you mad and laughed with you and made you glad and loved you and grew up with you there in the Tennessee mountain green where we spent our summers. Ann Dale, Lissy Claire, I'm yearning to see you there again. Steve, Bill, David, Pooh, Tom, please tell me you haven't gone. Mr. Rick or Mr. Mike, let me know what heaven's like. Please, Robin, teach me once more a lesson too late for the learning. Remember the games we played? Remember the times we stayed together and forgot our lines and stumbled drunk and chased bats through the high school and played bridge till dawn and did all the things that young fools do, like smoking pot, like hoping we were something we were not. When we lived, the show must go on over the dregs of a foaming can of Pabst, for God's sake. Over cicadas rubbing their legs in the mountain gloaming. In young summer nights when we had so little at stake, when we danced for rain and cursed the rain and thanked the rain because we could start the party and end the day, and then stood with unlined faces toward heaven, letting the rain wash our sins away. Remember when we spent our summers in the jubilation of youthful recreation and shared with the delighted audience that joy of that experience? Yes, we know why joy rhymes with loy. We spent our summers learning what makes a friend. We spent our summers not knowing how few there were to spend. We spent our summers like they'd never end, like no one would ever have to count them, like none of us would ever be just smoke on the mountain. New York City, June 12th, 1991.
Oh my gosh.
Bravo.
Yep. Bravo.
Well done, John.
Thank you.
You all did it. I ripped off every one of you.
Kleenex, anyone?
I have this whole pile of Kleenex next to me.
I have to put my sunglasses back on.
A copy of that.
Beautiful.
John Lutz, we need a copy of that.
It's on our site.
Okay.
I think that's a fine farewell.
Yep. Can we do a toast?
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Lou?
Yes,
Seriously.
let's toast us.
We all did it together.
Ronnie?
Are we ready?
Yep.
Are we ready? Jennifer, I cannot see you. You're not on my screen. I'm on an iPad, but here we go.
First, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Ronnie?
Remembering, are you ready? Okay, remembering the sparkling waters of the Smoky Mountains where we played, we toast the 55 years since the beginning of the University of Tennessee's Hunter Hills Theater, that magic mountain home that first brought us together and brings us together now.
We toast its memories that we always carry. We toast ourselves here today. We toast those who cannot be with us. We toast those who have gone before us.
To all of us and
To
to
all of
our
us.
lives
At
at Hunter Hills Theater.
Hunter Hills Theater.
Hunter Hills.
Hunter Hills.
Let's do this next week. Okay, now I want to take screenshots of everyone. It's 2 screens. So everyone look at their camera and smile. It'll take me. Ready? Smile. All right, one more time. Hang on. Everybody look at your screen and smile.
Oh, I see people. I see other people.
Smiling? Okay, good, thank you. Oh my gosh, how wonderful this has been to see everybody.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody. I first want to thank Lou first for having the idea to do this and acting on that idea. We all think a lot of things and sometimes we don't do it, but he has worked so hard to put this very first Zoom together. And I hope we have many more of them. And I want to thank Jennifer, who has worked so hard alongside her other job that she has, to put the in memoriam together and to help us all with the technical side of this Zoom. I want to thank Sheila and Ronnie and Charlotte and John and all of you who have shared your memories and shared your love with the rest of us. And before we close, we are nearing the very end of the Zoom. I want to share one thing with you that for me sums it all up. And that is when the theater was being bulldozed, Lou called me and said, "You've got to get up here. The bulldozers are here. They're tearing down the theater." And I jumped in my car and my daughter Amanda was little and she was maybe 2. And she was in the car with me and I drove up the drive up through the theater where you could just drive to the very end and see all the seats. You all know where that place was. And I sat there and I watched them. I couldn't believe it. And I got out of the car and stood there and looked and tears came down my face. And Amanda said, "Mommy, why are you crying?" And I said, "Well, honey, they're taking away our theater." And she said, "But they can't take away the love." And that's all she said. And she was 2. And I said, "Thank you. Thank you. I needed that." And they can't take away the love. And that's why Hunter Hills is a state of mind and it's a state of heart. So if you enjoyed yourself today, then you may want to do another Zoom. Maybe we could do it around summertime, maybe around the Hunter Hills Theater Day Gatlinburg proclaimed for us in 2006, and that's on July 22nd. Maybe we could Zoom again. So, would you like to Zoom again?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, let's do it.
Would you like you want to volunteer to host? Who wants to volunteer to host it? Oh, I see. Nobody's nodding.
I'll host it again.
Well, if
Nobody's
you do want to do another Hunter
As
Hill,
long as you and Lou and Sheila and Bonnie help me.
It's a
get together in a
lesson
breakaway
to leave for
burning,
made of sand. Made of
sand.
And the wings of
Alive, the world is burning.
in your hand.
In your hand,
In your
in your
hand.
hand.
Are you going away? Where does farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better in the unkind. Oh, that last and I lie in my bed in the morning.
All right.
Without
I love the barking dog.
We call the dog.
that's my beagle. It's all in my red eyes are bright. Where are you? Where are you? That's my front man. Are you going away? Nowhere. Will there be not a trace? Hurry! Bye!
Bye, everybody.
Better is being to be unkind. That one last thing on all our minds.
Oh my God. Thank you all, everyone.
Love you.
Thank
Love you.
we
you.
go on
Thank
Friday.
Adios.
Adios.
Goodbye, everyone.
Take care, Charlotte.